Okay, I'm back. What I was saying is, like for instance, I've mentioned this before, I don't use this very much anymore in striking on the small indirect. I've gone to this because it's heavier. And there are times when I'll use even that big wood thing. Yesterday I was working a piece of dacite, and of course dacite's brittle. And I was wanting some pretty big showy flakes on it. I'm trying to make like a Wells point. And I never know, you know, how flat I'm going to get it and how much I need to do edge work or whatever, but I like to start out at least from the frame of reference of trying to get some big pretty flake scars across it, percussion scars. So I was using the wood to hold the platforms together. I probably should have videoed it. It was the last thing I did yesterday and I was tired and all, so I was just goofing around. But I probably should have videoed it to show you how slowly I was hitting and how slowly I was able to hit. Because I was just dropping that wood on it. I tried to make that go a long ways over here to cut off a hinge from the other side, semi-hinge. Got to be careful when you work near the tip or the base. If I need to, I'll take a flake just slightly in from the base and then just barely take the one I really wanted to take after that next to it to avoid doing all the good right at the base. This material is cool because it looks old the second it's hit. I mean, you could make a brand new point and just toss it outside and go look at it a couple hours later and it looks like it's 1,000 years old. It's cool. That was a good flake. With this material, I'm usually struggling a little bit with the edge preparation because there's this constant struggle to not since the edges are crushy kind of, you got to get them strong enough to take the strike, but if they kind of crush while you're doing that, you get them over strong and then they're rounded off and not the right angle to strike, and they're too strong too. I know some people who don't like working this material. I think it's cool material. I definitely think it's worth working. It's just different. Well, so I could just come in and notch the base and call this thing done and leave it like it is, and people say, what kind of point is that? I'd be like, it's a Jerry point. Crap. I cheat so much in how I do stuff. Well, so what should I do? Make a weird little dovetail, or just keep coming on in and do some parallel flaking on something along the lines of a midland, even though I've got extra width and I'm wasting it? What to do, and I don't have a coin to flip. And unfortunately, y'all are not in a position to reply. Getting a little bit low on those hits. I'm coming in. Coming in on it. Getting aggressive, getting crazy. Wasted a lot of your time. Talked too much. When you're doing this, you gotta be careful. Because I'm definitely hitting above the edge. But I'm just barely catching the edge. And if it doesn't break, I can feel that it's not breaking, and I just move over and hit till I get it broken somewhere close by. And then when it breaks, I know that the place next to where it broke will break easily, so then I just go there. Alright, so I gotta get some straightening up done on this right away. I got square edge still on the base too. Crazy. Let's see, I'm gonna tilt you down a little bit. I think. I don't know how well you can see, but maybe. Moving you, don't get dizzy. I've been wanting to do better with some of this with close in work where you can see better. This may cramp my style too much with how I use my weight to flake when I'm pressuring. That's the thing, I try to do a good pressure thing one time before to show. And I put the camera more or less right under my nose and tried to ignore it while I was pressuring. I'm trying to get this base very regularized. I'm trying to get it about the thickness I want. Because when I'm trying to do this sort of flaking, what I do is I try and get the base exactly like I want it, and then I do all the work from the sides after that, and don't do any more on the base at all. Because I want the side flakes to cover up the base flakes. If that makes sense. All these basal flakes, I don't want them visible. I want them gone. Overwritten with stuff coming in from the sides. But in order to do that, I got to get this view of it just like I want it to start with. Every flake's different than when I do pressure work. There's tremendous variability in how hard I'm pushing and the angle I'm pushing. And the way in which I get it to release. Like if I'm working near the tip of a point and just taking a short little flake and I want it to release easy and not put too much pressure in it, I'll sharpen my tip. I'll push in a little bit, but there's an outward push too. And instead of just pushing until it releases, when I want it to release, I'll twist the tip a little bit and it kind of helps it release. And I do all that to try and control what the flake does because I don't want it to run. I don't know if that makes sense, but okay, we're still at a very opportunistic phase here. I'm still just trying to get everything sort of set up well. So I'm random flaking all over it. Okay, see, that was a dangerous little flake and it ran all the way across and stopped right at that edge, but it didn't take a bunch of the other side off. This is kind of a concavity right here. So I'm just taking fairly short flakes that feather into it. This face is too low, or this platform too low. So another fairly short flake. Don't want to hinge it. Then it comes back up and gets a little better right in here. And go a little longer. And one of the things I try and do is sometimes at this stage I may actually even get back a little bit of convexity if I've been flattening a lot. I'll go relatively short and get back a little bit of convexity to safeguard me from hinges until I get down within shooting distance of everywhere that's halfway or less across the face, so that I can try and have a real clean finished product. Okay, so now I've got this to this side. I've got these flake scars there, so I'll see if I can maybe eliminate some of them. The problem is when you don't have convexity, see that's hinging out in there, and so then I've got to get them all from the other side, or I've got to come back and redo more of everything as it comes in. And I could have waited till I get closer. There's some judgment involved in that too. This is still very random. It may look like it's ordered, but it's not. I'm doing different things on each flake. All that twisting and turning there was just trying to analyze what I'm dealing with. You got to step back fairly frequently from your work and look at the big picture and plot and plan where you're going with it. Now the reason I stopped right here is I got a high spot right here, and that last flake kind of buggered up this platform. So I want to raise it back a little bit and just kind of dress that platform a little bit, because I'd like to take a fairly good flake right there. And so that flake ran to there and it cut through that high area. I'd like to do the same thing with this next one. That helped. It's smoothing. That helped. Anytime you get any flakes stuck in your pad, get them out. Make sure that you're trying to do flakes like this, the ones that you really want to make go. Don't have the pad touch them. Okay, you hear all that funkiness going on. I need to pile these dang burrs off. I also have this point sticking out a little too far, and it's short in there. It needs to be replaced. So I do that pretty quick. What time is it? The problem is turning this thing down. I can't see how long I've been on. Okay. Now this platform is not right at the tip. If it was, I wouldn't push on it very hard because I'd be worried about it breaking off. And it actually hinged into this thing that was already a problem. So I'll probably come from that in and cut that off and shoot into there a little. Trying to slightly isolate here. Say, well, why are you doing that? I thought you had it set up the way you wanted it. Well, I didn't really. And I've got a hinge and an issue right there. I want to try and take a big flake. That flake ran all the way down there and cut off part of that, but at the same time it thinned and regularized that a little bit. So I'm going to go next to it, What I'm trying to do is tilt all this edge a little bit toward the other side again, because this is high. Real knife edge, don't want that. I'm going to switch out this nail and be right back.